Final.
Cup championship bound, baby! Woo! Big love, baby! Woo! The year, man. It got a little crazy out there, but we made it through.
We're gonna keep stacking the day, so see you in the championship.
Bow! Let's go!
June 17th wasn't just another game. It was sweet revenge. Think back to May 30th, when Jacy, Sheldon, and the Connecticut Sun left Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson hurt on the court, and those cheap shots went ignored. Well, the Indiana Fever didn't forget a thing, and when Sheldon jabbed Caitlin Clark right in the eye during the rematch, it lit a fire. What followed proves exactly why you don't come for Clark's crew, because Sophie Cunningham was locked in and ready to unleash the most glorious flagrant foul you'll ever witness.
It was chippy the last time these two teams faced off too. Sophie Cunningham suffered her ankle injury in that game, but in addition to that, she actually had part of her front tooth knocked out. She made contact with Jacy Sheldon as Caitlin Clark knocks down the triple.
But what people don't talk about enough is how hard you have to work to be able to be that good. All the hours that she's spent perfecting her craft.
Retreating, firing, and hitting.
So she can do that.
On Indiana arguing the call.
I mean, step back, you're late. She almost looks you in the eye.
Picture this. May 30th, Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. And everything unraveled for the Fever in the worst way imaginable. The game began like any other, two WNBA teams battling for position. But the Sun brought a level of physicality that pushed past fierce and into outright reckless. From the opening tip, you could feel the tension crackling through the air.
Can we talk about the physicality for a second? Two players on the Indiana Fever got injured last night by the same player on the Connecticut Sun, and that was Jacy Sheldon. And I tweeted about it. She was playing so reckless. I'm fine with players playing aggressive, but there is a thin line between playing aggressive and playing reckless. When you dive for a ball, you don't land on somebody's leg. She landed on top of Sydney Colson's leg, and her leg got stuck and literally twisted around. Both injuries, both Sydney Colson and Sophie Cunningham, were contact injuries.
Sophie Cunningham went down first after what looked like a deliberate hit. The contact was brutal, way too much for a routine basketball play. Then Sydney Colson took a shot in another shady sequence that left everyone wondering what was really going on out there. The kicker? Jacy Sheldon was at the center of both plays, bringing an aggressive edge that made your blood absolutely boil.
They weren't non-contact. They weren't ACLs. They weren't Achilles. They were contact injuries caused by the same player. And this kind of physicality that the WNBA they brag about. They say it's always been a physical league. That's just the heart of the It's not good basketball. And we've seen so many injuries. Paige Becker's out with a concussion. Rakia Jackson was out with a concussion. All of these injuries are contact plays. We've seen Caitlin Clark last year get chucked to the ground. We saw Angel Reese get clothesline chucked to the ground. The players continue to do it because the refs are allowing them. Why wouldn't you keep doing it if you're a physical player?
Here's where the college history heats things up. Sheldon and Clark had been clashing since their Iowa versus Ohio State battles. Back then, Sheldon made it her goal to rattle Clark every time they shared the court. She shadowed her non-stop, threw bumps on every screen, and never missed a chance to talk trash during dead balls. This wasn't just a game anymore. This was personal.
Her mortal enemy took out a player. Jacy Sheldon. Caitlin Clark's mortal enemy, Jacy Sheldon.
The refs that May Day let it all slide, like they were watching a different game than the rest of us. Hard fouls, no whistle, dangerous plays, ignored. Clark had to stand by as her teammates went down while Sheldon skated by without even a warning. With every possession, the frustration grew. The Fever battled to the end, but fell 85-83. More than just a loss, they were down two key players, injuries that could have been avoided if the officials had done their job. Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson were out, and their absence hit hard in the games that followed.
This is a reckless play. This is reckless. It is dangerous. And this angle makes it look even worse.
It is dangerous. Like, Sid Coulson is between her and the ball. Sid Coulson is, in fact, between Jacy Sheldon and the ball, and she dives through her knee. It wasn't even called as a foul. It wasn't even called as a foul.
You could see it in Clark's eyes after that loss. The way she stared down Sheldon in the handshake line. The edge in her voice during the post-game interview. This wasn't finished. Not even close. The Fever would remember every detail. Who threw the hits, who got hurt, and how the refs just let it all slide. June 17th couldn't come fast enough. And when it did, Clark was back from her quad injury, fresh off a dominant win over the undefeated New York Liberty, and locked in to face the Connecticut Sun again. It was just her second game back after 3 weeks off, but you could tell she hadn't forgotten a thing. The way she stepped onto the court, the way she stared down the sun during warm-ups. This wasn't just another game, not for her.
She just texts me. She never texts me during the game.
All right. Here is Clark splashing home a three from way downtown. Kelly escorting her back to the bench.
Jacy Sheldon is there on it with her hand in her face.
The game tips off with that same thick tension hanging in the air. Sheldon's on Clark from the jump, guarding her like everything's on the line, way too close for comfort. She's glued to Clark on every possession, throwing bumps on screens, doing all the little things that turn basketball into a brawl. It's the same reckless intensity that sidelined Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson back in May. And everyone in the arena can feel it. Something's coming.
And Caitlin Clark are talking to the official. They're both going out and saying, hey, oh, there's a little extra right there. Uh-oh. And Marina steps in to protect Jacy.
Third quarter hits, and here comes the moment that flips everything. Clark is bringing the ball up court when Sheldon steps in to defend. She reaches in for what looks like a steal, but her finger goes straight into Clark's eye. The contact is instant and impossible to miss. Clark's head jerks back from the impact. You can see it clear as day.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and Jacy Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Here is if Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabrey comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
Clark instantly grabs her face, pain and fury flashing across her expression as she realizes what just happened. She's squinting, trying to blink it out, but you can tell this is more than just physical. She knows exactly who did it. The same player who took out her teammates is now coming for her, using the same dirty tactics that slipped by the refs last time. So Clark does what any true competitor would. She pushes back, literally shoving Sheldon away after taking a finger to the eye. It's instinct, pure and simple. Anyone would do the same. The crowd explodes because they all saw it. But unbelievably, the refs are about to make things even worse.
Hey,
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabrey's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it. Look at Mabrey. She's got a scar on one side, a scratch on one side of her face, a scratch on the other side. It's not from the game today. I asked her about it. She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here. There's a scrape across the face. That's what Clark didn't like.
Clark's standing there, clutching her eye, clearly the victim of a dangerous play. Yet the officials reach for their whistles. The arena erupts in confusion and outrage. Fans are pointing to the replay boards, where the eye poke is plain as day, but the refs aren't budging. Instead, they hit Clark with a technical foul for pushing back after getting jabbed in the eye. A technical foul for defending herself. The call makes zero sense to anyone watching. Clark had just dropped 32 points in her first game back from injury, and now she's being punished for reacting to the same player who took out her teammates. The message this sends? That targeting Clark comes without consequence, and if she stands up for herself, she's the one who'll pay the price. But that eye poke? That was just the spark. Because Marina Mabrey saw it all go down, and she was about to raise the temperature to a whole new level.
Take another look as we try to figure out what exactly went down. So you see her get hit in the face. Jacy Sheldon doesn't like that, and everybody on the team doesn't like it. Marina, trying to have her teammates back, pushes her down. You see a little bit of drama all the way around. Tina, Charles, Clark, and Mabrey, they received technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant 1 foul.
Right after Clark gets slapped with that bogus technical foul, Marina Mabrey decides she's done watching and takes matters into her own hands, in the worst way imaginable. Clark is still trying to shake off the eye injury when Mabrey storms over and does something that leaves everyone in the arena absolutely stunned.
That's what Clark didn't like. Then Mabrey came in with a bump.
And Mabrey's day is almost assuredly going to be done. But both teams.
This wasn't basketball contact. This was straight up assault. Mabrey body-checked Clark like it was a hockey game, not the WNBA, sending her crashing backward to the court. The hit was blatant and completely uncalled for, so obvious that even the most casual fans could see it for what it was. Clark hit the floor hard, stunned, and you could see it in her face. The shock of realizing that yet another Connecticut Sun player had just taken a cheap shot at her.
And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, Jacy Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
The entire Fever bench leaps to their feet because they've just watched their star player get assaulted right in front of the referees. Players are pointing at Mabrey, yelling at the officials, pleading for someone in stripes to finally step in and do their job. The crowd is losing it, roaring with disbelief as this unfolds right on their home court. Coach Stephanie White is on the sideline, completely unhinged, screaming at the refs who are somehow still missing what's happening right in front of them. She's waving her arms, pointing straight at Mabrey, desperate to make them understand that this has gone way past normal basketball contact. White knows exactly what's happening. Clark just got targeted again, and the officials are about to blow it. Again.
Now after this, you guys, of course, the referees are going to review the play because that's a lot of contact going on right there. That's a lot of unnecessary contact. That's a lot of non-basketball contact happening during this play, right? So the 3 referees that I like to say, they got them straight out of Sephora because I don't think these referees have ever refereed a professional basketball game in their life. They took these referees, they were at the monitor, they looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes. 15 minutes they are watching this play over and over.
The refs hand Mabrey just a common technical foul, the exact same penalty they gave Clark for simply defending herself after getting poked in the eye. Let that sink in. Clark gets jabbed in the eye and pushes back. Technical foul. Mabrey straight up body checks Clark to the floor in retaliation. Also a technical foul. The math doesn't add up, and everyone in the arena knows it.
The announcers here are saying, of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant 1, of course, on Jacy Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles, technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And Jacy Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
White goes off in the post-game press conference. When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long, this is what happens. She's had it. She's done watching her players get targeted while the refs just stand there and let it slide.
When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete and they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better.
The message couldn't be clearer now. The officials weren't going to protect Clark, so her teammates would. Sophie Cunningham had been watching it all unfold from the bench, and she was about to send a message no one would forget. Nobody messes with her teammate. Final minute of the game. Fever's cruising with an 87-70 lead, and Jacy Sheldon gets the ball one last time. The clock is winding down, but Cunningham isn't thinking about the score anymore. She's thinking about May 30th, when she went down hurt. She's thinking about Clark getting eye-poked with no real punishment. She's thinking about Mabrey body-checking her teammate to the floor.
So now let's talk about Sophie Cunningham. At the end of the game, Jacy Sheldon is going for a fast break layup and Sophie Cunningham is running with her. And I remember in my head, like it happened in a split second and I said, oh, let's see. Let's see what happens here.
Cunningham remembers everything from that brutal May game. Her own injury, sitting on the bench in pain while Sheldon strutted around untouched. She remembers the refs turning a blind eye as her teammates took hit after hit. And now, here's Sheldon, driving to the basket. Cunningham sees her shot, and she's not about to let it pass.
Sophie commits a hard foul on Jacy Sheldon. Again, as Jacy Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm going to give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional. It was absolutely intentional.
She lines up Sheldon and delivers the most satisfying, flagrant foul you'll ever witness. Cunningham grabs her hard, wraps her up, and drags her to the floor. This wasn't a basketball play. This was payback. This was justice. This was Sophie Cunningham making it crystal clear. You don't mess with her teammates. The officials hit Cunningham with a flagrant 2, and she's automatically ejected. Sheldon and Lindsay Allen get tossed too for jumping into the fight. 3 players ejected, but the message was delivered. Justice finally hit the court.
It was, to me, payback for what was happening the entire game. But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure Jacy. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it. We'll take care of it, but this is not what you're going to do when you come into our house. It was an intentional foul. It was a hard foul. She brought her down. But with that, you guys, Jacy Sheldon got up and she was ready to go. So as you guys can see in this video, a whole scuffle breaks out. Sophie and Jacy are going after it. Both teams are running over, trying to break it up. It kind of goes into the fan section a little bit.
Clark finishes with 20 points and 6 assists, leading the Fever to an 88-71 win that felt like way more than just a victory. Natasha Howard notches her 50th career double-double with 16 points and 12 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell chips in 17 points. It was a full team effort, but everyone knows what truly mattered.
A rare miss at the rim for Aaliyah Boston, the league's top field goal percentage shooter in the WNBA, but it's Boston who comes up with the steal and the find to Howard. Clark working on the rookie. Clark on the drive. Hang, shot too strong. There's Howard to clean up.
And Clark working off the ball, comes off the stagger,
Third year in her WNBA in terms of setting up her teammates. Clark behind the back, beat inside. 2 more for Howell.
This wasn't just about beating the Sun. This was the Fever showing they won't be bullied, they won't back down, and they always protect their own. The win sends them to their first ever Commissioner's Cup final, but more importantly, it sends a message to the entire league. If you come after their players, you'd better be ready for the consequences.
The Indiana Fever fans were chanting, "Sophie, Sophie." Sophie's jersey is going to sell out tonight. She's going to be in the All-Star game tonight just from this one play because she was standing on business. It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul and it was meant to send a message. It turned into a scuffle and I don't think anybody wanted that.
The Fever got their revenge after that brutal May 30th loss. Clark got her justice after the eye poke and the body check. Sophie Cunningham became a hero for stepping up when it mattered most. Sometimes, the officials won't protect you, but your teammates will. That's exactly what happened on June 17th, when the Indiana Fever showed the basketball world they're not backing down from anyone.
Oh, and Clark just took it away. It's a 2-on-1. Clark, bounce pass, pretty find, and Mitchell won't miss from there.
This game proved the Indiana Fever aren't just talented. They're a family that fights for each other when it matters most. When the officials won't protect their players, teammates like Sophie Cunningham step up and handle it themselves. That's what real loyalty looks like in professional sports. Now, the Commissioner's Cup final awaits on July 1st against the Minnesota Lynx. And after watching how this team rises through adversity and stands united, 2025 is already looking brighter for Fever fans. Remember this moment the next time someone says loyalty doesn't exist in pro sports, because Sophie Cunningham just proved them wrong. If you ride with the Fever, drop a comment below, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment.